Hello, readers of Motorsport-Total.com and Formel1.de to another episode of A Drink with Eddie Irvine. And Eddie, I can see you're on your boat. You're enjoying your holiday. Where are you? Tell us.
I'm in a little village in Italy called Santa Margherita. It's right next door to Portofino. It's beautiful here.
Okay.
I'm just having a Peroni. While in Italy, drink Peroni beer for breakfast.
You seem to spend a lot of time in that area.
Yeah, it's good because it's close to Milan. It's close to Monte Carlo. Portofino's amazing. I know everyone around here, so the restaurants are fantastic. Um, I don't need to take the boat far. I can just take it around the corner, and there's a few lovely bays. So it's a great spot to be.
Okay. Eddie, let's talk about an issue that came up in Formula One for the past couple of weeks. I remember in our very first episode, we talked about how you see some things in Formula One, and you've been very critical about the tracks they're going to and stuff like that. Over the past couple of weeks, we've had a lot of discussions going on about track limits in Turn 1 in Hockenheim, for example, but also in Austria and in Budapest. We were talking about pit radio being limited and then going back to free air again. There was the qualifying at the beginning of the year that was scrapped after 2 events, I believe it was. We know how you think about all those things. I think so, at least. But do you have a sort of a quick fix for Formula One? Is there anything you would suggest, some things you would think that have to change immediately to make it a more attractive product?
No, I think they need to go away and make a plan, because they keep making these short-term rash decisions, and then they go back on them, and then they find something else, and they just need to go away and really understand the problem. And for me, the basic problem is they're trying to make it too perfect, from the curbs to the rules to qualifying, to make everything be exactly as it should be, and that's boring. It was always the things that were unusual that make Formula One interesting. That makes anything interesting, as I always say, the beauty is in the mistakes. And a lot of things, if you see women that have got, they've done their face and everything looks perfect, it just looks weird. That's kind of where Formula One tries to get it. You see Bernie makes the motorhomes perfect all the way down the back, and yeah, that looks great at the back to give it this clean, beautiful image, but it doesn't work whenever you're trying to get people to watch the sport. So there needs to be two mentalities. There needs to be a mentality for the pit lane where everything looks beautiful, and there needs to be a mentality for the race where it's raw and strange things happen. Curbs should wreck the car. If it wrecks the car, you shouldn't use them. So drivers that don't make mistakes and go over the curbs get paid more than guys that do use the curbs and get away with it. So for me, it's just been made too perfect, and it's boring. As I say, I watched this race for maybe 5 minutes, and then I ordered a pizza because my pizza was a lot more interesting, to be honest. So it's they got to go away and really come up with a plan. The big problem they have is Formula One's full of anoraks. It's full of people that are on the inside, and they're so close to the screen that they can't see the big picture. It's like any company. Like, I'm involved with various companies, and the CEO generally is a guy that's right down in the nitty gritty, and he's focused so hard in the business. And you have a chairman that stands way up high and looks down at the business from, and sees the big picture. And it's two very different jobs. And there's too many people involved in the decision-making process of Formula One. You have Ferrari that want to do their thing. You have Mercedes that want to do their thing. You have the small teams that want to do their thing. And you've got Bernie who, love him to death, but he's too old. And you've got, everything in between. The big problem Formula One has is that it's evolved over years and years and years, and it's got pretty perfect now, whereby the cars don't break down. You know, that's another issue. You know, it used to be the small teams would only get points because the big teams broke down. So that was kind of exciting for everybody, because there was always a surprise result possible, because back in the turbo days, like big teams we've blown turbos nonstop. So that added excitement. Now it's
but Eddie, talking about cars breaking down, I completely agree. It would make it more interesting. But what can you do? I mean, it's one of the tougher ones, because with track limits. Okay, let's go back to.
You can't go back and force cars to break down. That's not. But you can make it where if a driver hits a curb, his car breaks. So don't hit curb. There needs to be punishment for drivers making mistakes. Drivers make mistakes. They go off the track. They come back on. They don't even lose a position now half the time. There has to be a punishment. As I said, back in the 60s, guys could get killed. We can't go back there. But now, you don't even lose a position. It's ridiculous. There has to be punishment for making mistakes. And, the thing is also, this button that lets you overtake. So now it doesn't matter if you qualify 6th or 7th or 10th, because the faster cars can just overtake anyone at will because they've got the button. So the pressure in qualifying is not the same. So if you make the mistake in qualifying, it doesn't matter so much. There needs to be much higher punishments for making errors of judgment.
So you agree that the DRS is taking away basically a little bit of the quality of overtaking. We got more overtaking, that worked fine, but the really good overtakings, I'm sort of lacking them. I can't remember the last overtaking where anyone said, wow, that was a good one.
Well, the funny thing is, Rosberg, he got penalized for that overtaking maneuver he did, which I have to say, it wasn't the prettiest overtaking maneuver, but he got past. The cars didn't make contact. And that's exactly the sort of maneuver where the guy had balls. He went for it. He was probably too far behind, but he went for it. And the overtaking maneuver stuck, and he got done for it. So it's like, what's he going to do next week? He's not going to do that, and it's going to be boring. And they're going to complain it's boring. It's like, you couldn't. This is one flew over the cuckoo's nest. It's insanity. Yeah.
Eddie, you're getting out of the image a little bit.
Sorry, better. I'm just holding my camera, and maybe I need more beer to stabilize.
Okay, just one final one on this Formula One bullshit topic. Who do you think is responsible for it when we have Nico Rosberg punished for overtaking Max Verstappen in Hockenheim? Do you think Charlie is partly to blame, or is it stewarding that needs to be addressed? What do you think is the issue there?
Listen, it's always been the problem with stewards, and it's the problem with government officials. They're hired to impose rules. So if they don't impose rules, they don't have a job, and they want to keep themselves in a job. They want to do something. If they sit there and they do nothing, then they feel they're not doing anything, so they feel they shouldn't be there. They might lose their job. So it's the same sort of mentality. I don't think it's Charlie. Charlie's, my day it wouldn't be Charlie anyway. The stewards, they're just, for me, I don't agree with them. I think, risky overtaking maneuvers should be encouraged, and if guys touch and go off, well, hey, that's it. It's tough luck. It makes everyone angry, and there's passion, and he took me out, and but is that not a good thing? Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to have a little bit of passion and a little bit of arguments? And Rosberg's incident in where was it? Germany? Austria. For me, he did the right thing. What's he going to do? Let Hamilton just drive around the outside of him. He braked as late as he could brake, which was later than he should have braked, but he kept Hamilton on the outside, and he kept him on the outside, and he protected his position. So, what's the problem?
Eddie, if someone came and asked you to be a race steward at some event, would you do it?
Only if I had 100% control and I didn't have to leave my boat.
Okay, that's going to be a tough one. Thanks a lot, Eddie, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.